These kinds of sites are breathing new life into the indie scene. They complement the go-your-own-way thinking of indie musicians while allowing them to leverage new technology and become part of a collective that promotes the common good. At the end of the day, both musicians and fans come out winners. Typically, the site does the marketing, advertising, and promotion that draw those who wish to buy indie bands' MP3 recordings. But indie fans are really the fuel that drives the engines of these kinds of sites. Listeners can stream MP3 and video from their favorite indie musicians, as well as discover new bands. Often, visitors can search the site by artist name, artist's influences, and artist blog entries. They can also search by genre, such as a cappella, alternative, electronic, slow rock, and so forth. The major departure from the past, however, is the advent of websites dedicated to promoting indie music. Typically, these sites enable musicians, bands, signers, songwriters, DJs, and MCs to sign up for one of three types of accounts. Usually, a free artist account gives musicians the opportunity to upload their music, write blogs, post upcoming gigs, and become part of the site's review and rating system. A standard account gives them the opportunity to sell digital content under one umbrella. For example, indie musicians are able to sell MP3s, videos, and photographs, and receive 70% of all sales. A professional account often enables musicians to use their own payment gateway like PayPal and retain 100% of all sales. Many indie musicians have used social networking as one aspect of their internet marketing efforts. Most bands, for example, have MySpace or Facebook pages. Those who have created videos might also place them on YouTube. This kind of viral marketing is completely aligned with the traditional, word-of-mouth promotion that indie bands have used for decades. Today, of course, indie musicians have a much more direct link with their potential audiences, the internet. In order to succeed, they're no longer dependent entirely on word-of-mouth and the patronage of like-minded people. Instead, they can easily reach those who want to buy indie bands' music. They do, of course, have to record their music, but technology has leveled the playing field there as well. Today's digital music software allows indie musicians to record their music inexpensively, without the backing of major labels. It wasn't all that long ago that musicians and bands had to pound the pavement with their biographies and demos in hand, trying to get the ear of a music industry scout. If they lucked out, the band would sign a recording contract and, hopefully, get the promotional power of the record label to find an audience. Indie musicians have always been a breed apart, sometimes because they have chosen to create their music outside of the mainstream and other times because they have not had access to the movers and shakers in the music world. New sites help indie musicians find audiences on the web. For every 1 million concerts that you perform, all but 3 sell out completely. For every 1 million albums you sell, all but 3 customers want to buy more of your albums. For every 1 million people that hear you sing, all but 3 want more. Okay, so I said that 6 Sigma means quality. What does that imply? Well, in general terms, 6 Sigma means that out of 1 million occurrences, no more than 3.4 have defects. Looking at it from the music industry point of view, it could mean that the key to music success is knowing who your audience is and how to reach them. If you were a gospel singer, where would you most likely find an audience that appreciates your music, in a church or a jazz bar? I know, I made it a bit obvious, but rest assured it is not always that clear. Most musicians and bands that I come across always say the same thing. Of course we do, yet when I asked them how their audience found them, they would always answer at the bar. When I asked for specifics, I always got the same answer. I don't know. Do you actually know who your customers are? Can you tell me where they come from? How they found you, or even what it is that they like about you, your music, or your work? Does 6 Sigma mean you change your music to accommodate the masses? Well, of course not. Your music is your creative essence. The key to success is not to change your music to fit the wrong audience, the key is to reach the right audience and make sure they always know where, when, and how to find you. So what does 6 Sigma have to do with that? Using 6 Sigma techniques provides you with a clear understanding of what your customers expect. It helps you identify who your customers or audiences are and ensures you reach them. Of course you want your audiences to come back for more. Every musician wants to have his or her music appreciated. Every musician wants to sell more albums and more concert tickets. The more money you earn, the more publicity you get. The more venues you fill. The more promotional items you sell. The more concert tickets you sell. The more of your music they purchase. The more your audiences come back to see you. 6 Sigma is about quality, service, and making sure that your customers or audiences keep coming back for more. Would you like your audiences to come back for more? Six Sigma. What could a statistical math term possibly have to do with music? Well, I could bore you with a long answer on the statistical benefits, or I could explain it in one simple sentence. The Six Sigma music business, keep your audiences coming back for more. Cubase is the most widely used sequencing program in the world with well over 1 million registered users. Designed for professionals from the ground up, Cubase converges extraordinary sound quality, intuitive handling and a vast range of highly advanced audio and MIDI tools for composition, recording, editing and mixing. In summary, Cubase, in my opinion at least, is the DeWalt power tool of the production world. Powerful and reliable, these music tools will allow you to write tunes in a way that more directly relates to musical notation. But the input may instead be one of the time value reporters included in the music tools. Pro Tools MP3 option. By including the Pro Tools MP3 option, the music production toolkit makes it easy to listen to a new mix on a portable device or quickly share it with other band members without having to use a separate application. We all need the proper tools to create music, and by tools I don't mean a certain brand of instrument or amplifier, but rather the music we hear inside. Customers who purchase Cubase 4 will find additional advanced features required for the final production phases, including surround support, full control room functionality and specialized plugins and tools for creating a final mixdown. Tailored for composers, musicians and project studios as well as students and educators, Cubase Studio 4 still offers professional music production technology thanks to a high-quality set of essential tools, but at a lower price point than Cubase 4. Designed for professionals from the ground up, Cubase 4 sets a new standard for integrated music production software by combining powerful audio and MIDI recording, synthesis, editing, mixing and effects. The brand new VST3 effect plugin set and new first-class VST instruments are only the beginning. There are also new VST instruments, including 3 outstanding new synthesizers, Prologue, Spectre and Mystic, as well as Halion 1 sample player with hundreds of new instruments based on Yamaha motif waveform, and the new instrument track class accelerates handling of VST instruments and combines MIDI and plugin automation within the same track. Now owned by Yamaha, Steinberg is greatly benefiting from the music giant's ownership. After all, Yamaha is the largest musical instruments manufacturer in the world. The release of Cubase in 1993 on the Atari Falcon was a breakthrough in DSP software technology, as real-time manipulation of audio was possible without the assistance of additional processor cards, as was the case with the more costly Pro Tools and other similar systems. Cubase also sports a well-designed and fully functional MIDI and score editor, which seems to come as an afterthought in many sequencers, even Pro Tools. If you want to record and tweak the sound with Cubase's native reverbs, EQ and dynamics, all of the tools of the trade are there and much more improved from a graphic user interface standpoint. The first version of Cubase appeared in 1989 for the Atari Street computer, although the programmer, Charlie Steinberg, who gave his name to the company, had been creating sequencers for the Commodore 64 and Atari since the early 80s. The EEG will be used to measure any electrical change in the rain. The MEG will also be used to measure any magnetic change. The MRI will also be utilized to obtain necessary information about the complex structures of the brain. But basically, the goal of the study is to be able to find various ways and means to utilize music as an effective form of rehabilitation for human brains whose functions have been unintentionally hampered by degenerative diseases like stroke, heart disease, Alzheimer's, accident or cancer, to name a few. The children will be introduced to violin lessons as well as the piano. Both groups will be going through a battery of tests that will measure the degree of their perception and cognition skills. These groups will then be compared to those groups that are aged the same but have no training in music in any way whatsoever. The Canadian-made study will study children and the way their brains function as well as adults who are older and have prior training in music. The ages of the children range between 4 years old and 6 years old. The ages of the older group range between 50 to 65. This study was able to prove that musicians, believe it or not, have an enhanced auditory as well as sensory parts in the brain better than those who are not musicians. It was also seen that musicians who started early training have large areas in the brain, specifically the cortical, than those who started late. Previous work done that is related with this study has been conducted in Germany, wherein the brains of musicians were studied and wired in order to know how they process music and how music is actually able to trigger any changes, especially physical changes in the hardwire of the brain. The researchers hope that once it has been proven that early training in music has a positive effect on how the brain functions, and this functioning goes beyond anything that is musically related, it is therefore essential that music be involved in a child's early education. Music could also be well utilized as an effective strategy to rehabilitate a brain that has been, in any way, damaged due to disease or stroke. The researchers who want to conduct the study believe that the human brain is extremely moldable and extremely malleable, especially when one is in his childhood and until one reaches full-fledged adulthood. The study has been given a grant of more than $150,000 by an organization based in California that is related to any and all kinds of research in music. This Canadian-made study wants to discover if kids who are given early training in music has a more cognitive edge in terms of writing, reading and overall verbal skills as compared to other kids who have no training in music in any way whatsoever. There is a study that is out to discover whether brains that have been trained musically are more stronger and able to resist the degenerative effects of dementia brought about by old age compared to those brains that are not in any way exposed or trained musically. What was the last music you listened to today? How did that music, song or melody make you feel? Or more importantly, how did it make you think? Life is as musical as a play. By applying these techniques, you can dramatically improve the quality of your practice. You'll be able to use your time more efficiently and increase the effectiveness of your practice. B.F. Skinner and other experts have found that the mind's ability to learn drops significantly after prolonged intense concentration. Research shows that studying too long, i.e. more than 4 hours, can deplete chemicals in the brain necessary for learning. Therefore, it is best to take frequent breaks, a 5-minute break about every 20 to 25 minutes, and practice no more than 4 hours consecutively. Take frequent breaks and don't over-practice. When dealing with repetitive activities, the mind is better able to focus when the repetitions are broken up by short pauses. After 2 or 3 repetitions, pause for about 30 seconds to regain focus. Pause between repetitions. For every repetition required to learn a pattern of motion, it takes 7 times the number of repetitions to change the pattern. If in the course of your practice you make an error, stop. Review in your mind the pattern, and further reduce the speed of your motions. Don't practice mistakes. Once the muscles have learned a pattern, they will be capable of executing it without conscious control. Initiate the pattern through a conscious command and allow the muscles to execute it in a burst. Practice each cell in bursts. To help the muscles develop a sense of continuum throughout the piece of music, the last motion in a cell should be the first motion of the following cell. Link the end of one cell to the beginning of the next. A practice cell is simply a finite series of motions. Musical cells can correspond to anything from a few notes to an entire work. When practicing, it is important to practice small cells of just a few notes. Practicing small cells limits the amount of information the muscles have to learn at one time. It also facilitates the mind's focus and concentration. Practice in small cells. Slow practice also allows the mind to teach antagonistic muscles to relax. Antagonistic muscles are those that move in opposite directions. By relaxing antagonistic muscles, you can reduce tension and facilitate faster and easier performance and avoid potential injury. The mind initially must control all the motions of the muscles. The more controlled and precise the motions, the more quickly the muscles will develop muscle memory. In order to develop this memory, the muscles require training in the form of repeated conscious guidance from the mind. First the mind must learn the pattern, then the mind must teach the pattern to the muscles. The muscular memory of our bodies allows us to physically carry out patterns of motion with little or no conscious involvement. Examples of muscular memory include walking, riding a bicycle, typing, and of course playing a musical instrument. Practice motion slowly. The quality of your practice is much more important than the quantity. The old saying, practice makes perfect, is only true if the practice itself is perfect. Here are 7 tips to help make your practice more effective and efficient. A variety of coin vanishing tricks are prevalent the world over. Some of the most popular coin tricks are the vanishing coin, egg cup and the broken pencil trick. Everyone is familiar with the famous words of a magician: when children hear hocus pocus, abracadabra, they become amazed and mystified with the man or women in the black tuxedo. If you are doing tricks with cards, practice in front of a mirror as fast or as slow as you can, trying to get a feel of how you move the cards in order to perfect the illusion. Many card magicians will perform some typical card tricks, and you can use the same cards to create the illusion that you have mental powers and use the cards to predict certain situations. When performing street magic, it is usually street magic when you do it for a small group of people, in a bar or in your home or office. Buying close-up tricks or magic tricks for the street for your own personal use is one thing, but if you are buying them to perform on the street and become a professional street magician, you will need to practice your craft. Some of the great magicians like David Blaine stunned audiences with his exceptional skill of street magic. Doing street magic is sometimes known as naked magic. Doing street magic doesn't have props or stage hands at the basics of magic with maximum effect. The magician will use everyday objects to mystify the people on the street and keep them guessing on how he did it. If you change your routine for each performance, you may find that you lose the angles you need to perform the illusion, so you have to be very careful about viewing angles. You can mystify the audience by doing magic and leave them mesmerized. The result to the audience is having the belief that some amazing thing just happened. Make sure when you complete the trick that the audience cannot examine anything after the trick has been shown, and so there's the problem and worry of having to hide your tricks as soon as you finish each one. When performing your magic in front of people or an audience, it is possible to misdirect well enough to create the proper illusion. The trick might not work the way you want, but the people watching will not know. You can control the audience with a wide range of techniques. Performing is about your presentation and how you perform in front of an audience. This is what counts your timing, and you need to add humor. This is important because you need to distract the audience when performing magic. Get on stage and perform. The worst that can happen is that people will laugh and your trick doesn't work out the way you feel it should have. If people laugh, just remind yourself that this is part of your performance and continue with the trick. Call yourself a professional and people will assume that you do this full time and have no other source of income. If you are, or consider yourself to be, a magician, are you an amateur, professional, or semi-professional? I think by now you have probably gotten the point. The thing to consider is this. How much money would you be making if every 999,997 people that listened to your music wanted to hear more? Don't even think about getting on an airplane. 270 million wrong credit card transactions. No modern computer would function. Many years ago companies were targeting the 3 sigma level of quality. This translates to about 2,700 defects per million. Consider what this would mean if it was applied to other processes used today. Yes, that is true, and it is often the most common mistake that anyone in the industry can make. The key to understand this is in recognizing that it is impossible to actually measure lost opportunities. The one person that left your concert in disgust could have represented the record label that would have sold the largest quantity of your albums. Okay, I know, the next question is always, why just 3, why not 4, 5, or even 100 out of 1 million? It is still a very small percentage of the total. Do I need to go on? I think you pretty much have the idea. Think of the possibilities. A large audience full of very happy people or customers. How much money is that worth? It's mind-boggling. For every 1 million albums you sell, all but 3 customers want to buy more of your albums.
Established in 2005, YouTube is one of the first global social networks around, and its relevance continues to do nothing but grow. The video content posted, viewed, and shared on YouTube can be watched on desktops, laptops, notebooks, smartphones, and now smart TVs, any time of day or night. YouTube attracts a larger range of demographics across all ages, hobbies, interests, and careers than any other social media platform. And YouTube videos can generate high search engine page ranking. And of course, the most obvious benefit is that the combined audio and visual aspects of video content will make your message much more memorable than plain textual content. As the demand for quality video content increases, YouTube continues to gain more subscribers. Let's have a closer look at the statistics to gain a better idea of the benefits of creating an organic video marketing strategy. Worldwide, YouTube has over 1 billion users. Yes, a billion. And a whopping 30 million of them watch videos every day. An astounding 5 billion videos are viewed each day, totaling in over 500 million hours of daily viewing. Over 300,000 new videos are uploaded daily. 80% of people ages 18 to 49 regularly watch YouTube videos. Over 50% of YouTube videos are viewed on mobile devices. The average mobile viewing session lasts 40 minutes. So there's an amazing opportunity to connect with your audience there. 38% of users are female and 62% are male. So clearly the general stats and demographics are there. And by themselves, they justify using YouTube as a marketing channel. But the marketing-related stats are even more compelling. Today, around 87% of online marketers use video content. 1/3 of all online activity is watching videos. 92% of mobile video viewers share the content that they watch. And when given the choice, 59% of executives will choose video content over written articles. Video drives a 157% increase in organic traffic from search engine result pages, or SERPs. The click-through rate of email with videos is 96% higher. Content retention increases from 10% to 95% when comparing video to text. Users spend 88% longer on websites with video. Blog posts with video attract 3 times more inbound links. Adding video to ads increases engagement by 22%, and 85% of businesses have in-house staff who curate their video content, which shows you how important all your competitors think video marketing is. That pretty much settles it. You obviously need to be marketing on YouTube. Next up, we'll talk about establishing YouTube marketing goals. Establishing marketing goals is critical to the success of your YouTube marketing. Countless entrepreneurs and businesses have set up a YouTube presence, made a few posts, and then let it sit untouched for months or even years. This is usually due to a lack or an absence of goals. So, before you even begin establishing any sort of YouTube presence or strategy, you need to establish clear marketing goals. Your goals should be specific, measurable, and attainable. They can be long-term, short-term, or a mix of both. Deadlines and milestones can be helpful as well. I want to increase my social following would be an example of a bad goal that will likely result in your marketing efforts petering out for a while because there's no specific milestones. I want to gain 1,000 likes by Christmas is an example of a good goal. It's specific, measurable, and certainly attainable. Below are some examples of the various goal categories you might be interested in. First up, there's traffic to websites. And here we're talking about sales, leads, or just content marketing. Probably one of the most popular goals of YouTube marketing is to funnel your YouTube traffic back to your own web properties. After all, most businesses don't do business on YouTube per se. You're leveraging YouTube to obtain traffic and convert that YouTube traffic into brand followers, leads, prospects, and customers. So maybe your goal is to get people to a landing page with a free offer where they can subscribe to your list and become a lead. Maybe they're being sent to a sales page or an e-commerce store. Maybe you just want to do some content marketing, so you send them to your blog. Whatever the case, the end goal for a lot of businesses will likely be bringing YouTube traffic away from YouTube and over to their own web properties. Next up, there's social following, which we like to call YouTube as autoresponder. In this goal category, your aim is to build a large number of followers, and the reason we also refer to this as YouTube as autoresponder is because the main sought-after benefit here is to increase the number of people who will see your uploads in their feeds. In this sense, your YouTube posts become similar to sending out email broadcasts via your autoresponder. If you grow a large enough community, this can be very beneficial, and if your content is engaging enough to get a lot of traction in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and shares, you can significantly increase the range of your organic reach into people's feeds. Next, there's passive presence. Some businesses might have purely passive goals. Simply being present and discoverable inside of YouTube is a benefit that has wider appeal and greater utility than you may think. In many cases, a company's YouTube presence might supersede or at least augment what was once the role of a blog, assuming most of your content can be conveyed in the form of videos or attached to videos. When people come across this content of yours and they look at your channel, they can see some basic info about your brand or business, and you can get some traffic to your website. The same approach can also be used for events, communities, and brands. After that, there's brand awareness. Another goal that's less thought about might be spreading brand awareness and recognition. If you're just starting out, there's a good chance your brand might be in need of a jump start. If nobody's ever heard of you, a great way to increase recognition is to simply create and share unique, helpful, or entertaining content and get your name, logo, and overall brand identity in front of as many people as possible as many times as possible. If this is your goal, you want to avoid being salesy in the beginning. Ensure you're focused almost entirely on posting helpful, relevant, or entertaining videos. After that, there's expanding existing audiences. If you've already got an audience, your goal might be to make it bigger. This can be done via several social marketing methods. Sharing viral content, either curated or created yourself, can lead to a huge increase in your YouTube audience. Although creating your own viral content like that can be great, if you don't have the time or means to do so, you can simply leverage existing content that's already been proven to be viral by curating or resharing it with your own comments or angle added to it. Obviously, you don't want to actually steal and re-upload someone else's video. We're talking about doing a little video review or commentary about a content piece, preferably linking to the original content piece, and adding your 2 cents. Also, a few humorous videos can't hurt either. Other ways to expand existing audiences can include contests, sweepstakes, and gamification. Assuming your offers or prizes are compelling enough, incentivized sharing, liking, and subscribing can be very effective. Just ensure your methods are permitted by YouTube's terms of service. Enhancing or repairing public relations. Do you want to set your company apart in the public eye? Do you want to associate your brand with feelings of goodwill and community involvement? Was your business recently involved in a controversial incident that requires damage control? It doesn't take a humiliating public catastrophe to make PR enhancement a good idea. This is a goal that any business can engage in. Non-sales related campaigns can include videos that foster positive values and goodwill, or even involvement in social movements, or noble causes. On the social movement side of things, be careful not to alienate half your prospects, though. Did your business recently donate to a charity, build a school in a third world country, serve food at a local pantry? These are all great things to post about. If not, then they don't necessarily need to be about things that you and your business participated in specifically. They can be content about general things like a heartwarming video about helping the poor or caring for the elderly. Special holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, or Mother's Day also present opportunities to leverage emotions, foster goodwill, and enhance your PR. Next, there's market research. A hugely beneficial goal of YouTube marketing is market research. If you're just starting your business or going down a new path, YouTube can be an excellent place to learn more about your audience and your market. This can be done in a structured way with things like mentioning surveys and questionnaires at the end of your videos and linking to them in the description, or in a less structured way by simply engaging with your audience, commenting, asking questions, and so on. Also, lurking or conversing in YouTube channels or the comments of videos related to your industry can teach you a ton about what your customers want and who they are. Beyond that, you can monitor your competitors' accounts and posts to see what their customers like and what they're complaining about, so you can adjust your business accordingly. Creating your own channel, posting, and engaging in it is another great way to get a constant stream of market and audience data flowing into your business. Ultimately, your goal should be to come up with one or two ideal customer avatars that you can then base your marketing and product development on. All of the goals you've learned about in this section require some sort of presence on YouTube. Getting that presence started is what we're going to talk about next. The first step in getting started on YouTube is to create your own company channel. If you already have a company channel, you can organically optimize your channel with the tips below. First up, selecting your channel name. Now, in a perfect world, your channel name will be your business name. If your business name is already taken, get as close to your business name as possible. For example, you could abbreviate your name or add or delete identifiers such as Inc. If the product or service you're promoting is singular or in a clear niche, try to look for a creative, catchy, and memorable channel name. However, you must be forward-thinking when you select your channel name. For example, if you expand your product lines in the future, would you have two separate channels or one cohesive channel? If appropriate, you could even use your first and last name as your channel name. Consider keywords, but remember that trending keywords are in constant flux. Currently, you can create up to 50 channels, but in most cases, it's more strategic and time efficient to have one channel with lots of videos and playlists, rather than several individual channels. But we'll talk more about strategy in the next segment. Next up, optimizing your images. If you're familiar with optimizing blog posts and website images prior to uploading them to your website, the concept is the same. This is one of those tiny details that many people underestimate or simply don't know exist, but can go a long way in organic YouTube and search engine optimization. The best way to optimize your images is to use Google Trends or a paid keyword tool to identify the best keywords. Then, name and save your YouTube profile pic and banner with the most suitable keywords. Even if you're using your company logo, you must first name and save it with your relevant keywords. Even if you maintain the same profile pic and banner, update them both with new keywords on a quarterly basis. Next, it's tempting to simply copy and paste the About section of your website in YouTube or your other online platforms, sales sites, and social media channels. However, it's important to write unique descriptions for each of your online descriptions. This minimizes the amount of duplicate online content, but it also ensures you have unique descriptions relevant to the purpose of each online profile. For example, your YouTube description should touch on the value you plan to add with your channel via videos, not just who your company is and what you do. Once you've written a few unique sentences or paragraphs, take the time to add the About section links to your website, other social platforms, and top trending news. Before you begin creating your video content, you want to develop a video content strategy. Avoid the common temptation to just post about your products and services, and consider how you can create relevant video playlists which will meet a wide range of your target audience's needs. Yes, this can include sales, but it's time to think outside the box. Posting just a handful of relevant and high-quality videos is always better than posting a high volume of useless videos. Any combination of the ideas below can be used as inspiration for content your customers will engage with. First up, start with your FAQ. An excellent place to begin is take a look at your customers' most frequently asked questions. This can include industry questions and product questions alike. Answer the questions via a video or a video series and drive instant engagement. Next up, educational and instructional how-to videos are another popular choice. Here's a few examples. Does your product require assembly? Great! Create a step-by-step video of how to put it together. Do you sell a digital product? Create a video of the screenshots for performing common or advanced functions using your software or app. Do you sell a tool that can be used for a versatile range of functions? Create a video highlighting its most common features or functions. For example, a makeup demo. Is there an adjacent software, product, or tool your customers use? Create a video on how to integrate it with your product. You can even create videos that you use to train your team and post it online in an invitation-only video playlist. Next up, client testimonials. Your passionate and happy customers are often eager to share their great experience with others. The next time you receive a raving online review or direct email, ask the customer if they would be willing to record a client testimonial. And yes, it's okay to incentivize them for their time. Then there's live streaming an event. If you have an upcoming live event, fundraiser, speech, product demo, or convention, take a few minutes to record the event and upload it to your YouTube channel. How about interviews and team profiles? One of the ways to connect and engage in our current digital world is to do an online interview or video profile. This can be short and sweet and answer a few questions, or a little more robust. The goal is to make you and your team feel human and relatable. Also, take advantage of the opportunity to interview industry innovators you come across and post a video to YouTube. Then there's mini commercials. Most small or mid-sized businesses don't have the budget to produce and place a TV commercial for local or nationwide placement, which makes YouTube videos the ideal alternative. In most cases, it's still best to have an online video expert produce and create your mini commercial, including professional audio, voiceover, scripts, graphics, and editing. However, the price will be far more cost-effective than a commercial designed for TV. That being said, you can turn to DIY video tools to create whiteboard videos from images, or to edit the footage you shoot. Some of the best DIY video tools include Nutshell, Magisto, Animoto, Videoshop, iMovie for the iPhone, and iMovie for Macs. Then there's videos that support your content. As mentioned earlier when we were talking about statistics, when given the choice, 59% of executives would rather watch a 30 to 120 second video as opposed to reading a blog post, article, or email. Also, email marketing campaigns with videos have a 96% higher email open rate. This means you should look for ways to create image, text, and whiteboard videos that support your written content. The DIY tools above will help, or outsource to a video designer. Share your story. Don't discount the value of sharing engaging content designed to share your company's story, or a story that'll emotionally connect with your subscribers. For example, think of all the viral animal and baby videos that trend on YouTube. While babies and pets may not be relevant to your target audience, actively look for other ways to share stories that will brand your business in a positive light. Now, let's talk about mapping out your video content plan. Use the video categories above to break your video content up into relevant playlists and map out how many videos you want to create each quarter. Your organic and your paid video marketing plans must be integrated with your entire online and social media marketing plan. For example, after your video goes live, you can add it to an upcoming blog post as well as share it to your other social media platforms. In fact, let's talk about posting videos outside of YouTube. One of the unique things about video content is that unlike blogs and articles, you can post the same video in multiple places online. Look for every opportunity to post your relevant videos and remember that you can share them more than once. For example, if your how-to video is a hit on Facebook, post it again in a week or two. This will help increase views, likes, comments, and shares. Here's just a few places to post your videos: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, and other social platforms like that. Within articles and blog posts, within relevant paid ads, upload to relevant email marketing campaigns, add to one-off relevant emails, add to your newsletter, to relevant website pages, to the video section of your website. Even if you have the option to add a video independently from the source file and not just from YouTube, upload the YouTube link. This will help to create more backlinks and send more traffic back to your YouTube channel. Next up, organically optimize your YouTube videos. Before you upload a new video to YouTube, you must make sure it's organically optimized. This is similar to optimizing your profile image and banner as detailed earlier, but a bit more in-depth. First, there's renaming your video file. Before you upload your new video to YouTube, create an SEO-optimized file name. Use Google Trends or a paid keyword tool to name and save your video with relevant keywords. For example, you may be tempted to name your videos chronologically, but the perfect smoky eye is a better name than makeup tutorial number 12. Input all metadata. If you're familiar with filling out the metadata for your web pages and blog posts, it's somewhat similar within YouTube. Your title needs to include the question and/or relevant keywords viewers will type in when searching for information on YouTube. The more specific, the better. Just make sure your video name makes sense. Then, there's the description. Utilize video description to highlight the key points within your video. While the description can be up to 5,000 characters, the first 160 characters with spaces is all that populates in the search results. In other words, make sure there's a keyword or two in the first 160 characters. And don't forget to invite your viewers to subscribe to your channel. Captions and subtitles. Search engines can't crawl for videos, but they can crawl and index your captions and subtitles, so make sure they're SEO optimized. Don't forget to add links. You want to be sure to add relevant external links to your video description. While you certainly want to link back to your website, sales site, or other social media platforms, your organic performance may improve if you find quality links that are relevant to your videos. For example, link back to the official source of your statistics. Where many B2B and B2C marketers fail is in uploading videos to YouTube without organically optimizing their files and metadata, and without a plan for posting their video content elsewhere. With the strategic approach above and a steady stream of new videos, your subscription base and YouTube video community is sure to grow. Now, as great as all this info is, it's not going to be of any use to you or your business if you don't apply what you've learned. So, roll up your sleeves and get ready to execute the steps in the following battle plan. Step 1. Spend an hour brainstorming your YouTube marketing goals. Step 2. Think about what kind of videos are most useful for your business or niche and develop a content plan. Step 3. Take 15 minutes to create and optimize a YouTube channel in accordance with what you learned in this guide. Step 4. Start recording and uploading the first videos you decided on in Step 2.
Important to your profitability. I know that's a mouthful. Elemental video optimization. That's a lot of syllables. However, it's also extremely important. You have to understand that when people produce marketing videos, they know full well that the vast majority of their videos are going to fall flat. They're not going to do the job that they were made for. Most people can admit that. The problem is fixing the problem. That is the problem. I've seen this a million times before. A marketer would see that a video is obviously not performing. People are not watching it all the way through. People do not even click the link, and people are not sharing. So what do? They come up with a completely new video. That's right, they overhaul everything. They change the title, they change the video itself, they change the description, everything. I wish I could tell you that this has a happy ending. Unfortunately, it usually doesn't. Most of the time, these marketers spend a whole lot of money only to end up with nothing. Why? They burn down the house. They burn down the whole video. They replace it with another video. Sure, from time to time, somebody would come up with a video that was a hit. But here's the problem. They don't know why it succeeded and why the previous one failed. This is why I suggest that you wrap your mind around the concept of elemental video optimization. I know that's a fancy term, but all it means is that instead of overhauling your video all at once, do it piecemeal. How do you know which part to change? It's very simple. Each video has different elements. There's the title of the video, the description, the video itself, and categories, tags, and what have you. Each of these are elements. When you're optimizing a video, start with one element. For example, start with the thumbnail for the video. Maybe you can come up with 5 different versions. See which version gets the most clicks and plays. Come up with more versions of that successful thumbnail and see if you can improve the click-through. Once you reach a point where you cannot improve performance anymore, then you move to the next element. Maybe you should change the title. Come up with 5 different versions. Repeat the process until all elements of the video have been optimized. That's how you play the game. That's how you increase your profitability. Otherwise, you're going to be playing the game exact same way as most other marketers. How do they do it? They just take shots in the dark. Last time I checked, that's a lousy way to get a bullseye. You reverse engineer your competitors' videos. To a lot of newbie video marketers, their first instinct is to come up with a video that they think is hot. They swear that this video concept that they come up with is going to sell like hotcakes. I've seen this a million times before. The ending is very predictable. The idea that you thought was so hot fizzles out quickly. It turns out that your idea is not the best thing to come around since sliced bread. Far from it. Talk about an expensive mistake. If you want to truly dominate your niche through video marketing, you need to understand that you do not have to reinvent the wheel. Seriously, you just have to figure out what your competitors are doing and let them do your homework for you. Imagine that. Your competitors end up doing your homework for you. How? Pay attention to what they're doing. They're doing it for a reason. They produce videos that fall within a narrow range of topics for a reason. That reason should be obvious. It works. Start there. If you're looking for the top reason why you should just reverse engineer your competitors' videos instead of coming up with something absolutely new, it is this. It gives you a head start. The second reason is you get to build on their strengths and improve on their weaknesses. Usually, being the last person to the game is a big disadvantage. But when it comes to video marketing, it's actually a big advantage. The guys who started before you, they got out of the gate and they stumbled. And they stumbled again, and they stumbled some more. You can learn from their bad experiments and their failed video projects. You get to cherry pick from their successful videos to come up with your own video marketing success. Best of all, you can pick apart their areas for improvement and come up with ways to beat them at their own game. Do you see how this works? Don't beat yourself up over the fact that you're late to the party. In the world of video marketing, being the last person to the game is actually one of the biggest competitive advantages you can ever have. You just have to know what to do. That's the bottom line. Reverse engineer your competitors' videos and figure out the industry standard. Once you have a clear idea of what the standard is, develop your own brand. Of course, coming up with a successful brand is not going to happen overnight. It takes quite a bit of practice. But if you know what you're doing, things will fall into place. One key trick that boosts your video's SEO. What if I told you that there is one simple trick you can use to increase your video's visibility on YouTube? In fact, this little trick might even boost your video's rankings on Google search results. Excited yet? I know you would be. Here's the thing, it's not anywhere close to what you think it is. Usually, when people think of SEO, they think about keywords on pages and backlinks. I really can't blame you for thinking that way, because that is standard SEO. Even a newbie search engine optimization specialist would figure this out. The problem is, ranking a video on YouTube is somewhat different from ranking on Google generally. Forget about backlinks. Instead, focus on the core technology that YouTube brings to the table. Did you know that when YouTube processes your video, it actually creates a transcript? Now, you can choose not to make this transcript public. When people click the closed caption option on your video, they can see the transcription if you make it available. You can turn this off. Regardless, Google, which is the technology behind YouTube, is actually paying attention to the words in your video. A lot of video marketers are clueless about this. They use the old tricks. They stuff keywords in their description, their titles, and their file names. Unfortunately, they do not actually talk about the keyword. In fact, for a lot of older videos, these videos have nothing to do with the keyword they are targeting. Google has become smart. The old tricks no longer work. Here's the simple trick. Mention your keyword in your video. Sounds simple, right? Well, there's a complication. Mention it in context. That means there has to be other keywords that give proper context to your keyword. You can't just target one keyword and repeat it over and over again in your video. That's not going to work. In fact, that's going to work against you. You might even get penalized for that. Instead, you have to come up with related keywords that give context to your target keyword. For example, if your target is the phrase baby shoes, you should target baby wear, baby clothes, baby fashion. Do you see the big picture? When Google processes all these different but related keywords together, it sees the context. And your video might get ranked higher for your target keyword. Sounds awesome, right? Well, you're not out of the woods yet. There's one final hurdle. Your video must still be engaging. If your video does not get views or does not get clicks, YouTube is going to bury your video. Pay attention to these factors so you can get a nice bump up in YouTube search results. Too many marketers fail to do this, and they end up failing. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've seen very effective videos fail at the very end. Don't get me wrong, these videos were well produced. It's obvious that whoever came up with these videos spent quite a bit of time, effort, and money producing them. They're very slick, and they have amazing scripts. They communicate really well, but they're missing one key element, and that's why they fail. I'm willing to bet money that these videos did not even cover their cost of production. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised that the vast majority of these otherwise slick videos I've seen did not make any money at all. Sounds sad, right? Well, you'd be sad too if you spent all that time, effort, and money only to have very little to show for your efforts. How do these marketers fail? What are these videos missing? Well, please understand that a great video is not just about graphics. It's not just about having an awesome script. It's definitely not just about having great content that informs people. Those are very important, but you have to have this additional component. Miss out on this, and you will end up wasting your time producing yet another video. What am I talking about? Call your viewers to action. There's a reason why you created that video. It's not like you had nothing else better to do. You want to make money. Call your viewers to action so they can put extra dollars in your pocket. It's that simple. Not only that, but you have to call them to action repeatedly. Sounds simple, right? Well, here's the complication. You have to call your viewers in context. You can't just say, click the link in the description box below. That's not going to work. Why? Everybody's doing that. What makes your video stand out? What makes your video distinctive? Doing that won't make you stand out. In fact, that kind of call to action is all too forgettable. You have to call your viewers to action in context. How do you do this? You pitch them on the benefit they will get when they do what you want them to do. For example, if I'm promoting a Bitcoin trading system, I would say, if you're tired of losing money or making very little money on Bitcoin trading, click the link below for the answers you need to succeed. You see how this works? You appeal to their problem. What is their problem? They're not making any money or they're losing money. You then connect your solution and tie it to an outcome. The outcome, of course, is to turn things around. I know it seems simplistic, but it works. Don't just say, click below or click the link. That's not going to work. You might as well have not said anything. Never fail to call your viewers to action. How to use the KLT sales method using videos. What is KLT? Sounds like some sort of medical procedure or a complicated massage. Maybe it even sounds like some sort of high-tech jargon. Well, KLT is going to determine whether you make money in video marketing or not. That's how important KLT is. You better wrap your mind around the concept. In fact, I would suggest that you focus on it intently. Otherwise, you're going to be spending a tremendous amount of time, effort, and resources trying to make money with videos only to fail. That's how important it is. It is no joke. What is KLT? K stands for no. L stands for like. T stands for trust. Sounds good so far? Well, here's what brings it all together. When was the last time you bought something from a total stranger? I would venture to guess that your answer is never. You're hardly alone. Most people would buy only from somebody they trust. It doesn't matter how long it took to get that trust, but they will only buy if they feel they can trust the other person. Do you get it now? Well, how do you get to the trust stage? That's right. You have to feel that you like the particular option being offered to you. Which brings up the question, how do you get to like a particular option instead of other options? This means that you have to know enough about your problem for you to think that you would prefer one option over another. That is the KLT process. Your job as a salesperson, and you are a salesperson even though you're using online videos, is to walk all your viewers through the KLT process. They start out trying to know quite a bit about their problem. Then they like a particular option, and then you hold them by the hand until they trust your specific option. You have to use video to make this happen. How does this work? Well, the K videos are videos that teach viewers. For example, if you're selling baby shoes, you teach the viewer the importance of buying baby shoes. What are the benefits of putting shoes on kids? Next, you compare the different types of baby shoes out there to the type that you're promoting. Your videos must get the viewer to like your particular option. After that, you come up with video reviews of different models of the option you are selling, and you build trust that way. That's how you use KLT with videos. It's all about using the right kind of video at the right time. That's how you get people to trust you. Otherwise, you're not going to get a sale. Forget about it. but use the cheapest marketing video type most profitably. Video marketing actually involves many types of videos. There's no such thing as a magic bullet video. Seriously, there's no one video type that would sell everybody all the time. That simply doesn't work. Different people are more likely to trust a video spokesperson. Fair enough. Others have a soft spot in their hearts for a whiteboard animation. Cool. Even others prefer slideshows. Now, you may be thinking that these different video types are pretty much the same. No, they're not. At the very least, they're priced differently. If you're looking for the cheapest type of video marketing, go with slideshows. This should be obvious. Basically, you take different pictures and you come up with captions. You edit them together. Maybe you play a soundtrack in the background and you have yourself a nice, professional-looking slideshow. Now, you may be thinking that since these are cheap, they're not all that persuasive. Think again. You just have to use them in the proper context of the KLT sales method. Some slideshows are to develop knowledge. Other slideshows are to get people to prefer your particular method. And other slideshows are to get them to trust the specific product that you're selling. Again, slideshows are not much different from the other videos in terms of the KLT sales method. What makes them stand apart is the fact that you can create a lot of them and they're dirt cheap. Use your secret weapon. There's one secret weapon that would really turbocharge the impact of slideshows. The best part to this secret weapon is that it doesn't really cost much money. What am I talking about? Your voice. Either you narrate your slideshows or you hire somebody for cheap to do it. Regardless of how you do it, just do it. Why? When your slideshow has an actual human voice playing over it, it gives it a personal touch. The viewer doesn't get the impression that they're back in high school being forced by their teacher to watch some boring slideshow video. Instead, the voice element in the slideshow creates all sorts of emotional imagery. This makes your slideshow more powerful. Now, you may be thinking that you need to be slick to do this. No, it's okay to make mistakes. As long as you're personable and you impress the viewer, you'll be fine. How do you impress people? Very simple. Impress them with facts and results. Let me tell you, people brag all the time. That's not going to impress anybody. Why? Everybody does it. However, when you show people that the stuff you're talking about is real, you know they will sit up and pay attention. That's how you impress with facts and results. Finally, call the viewer to action. This is the key. Always call them to action.
3 key marketing video types you need to know about. A lot of newbie video marketers are under the impression that all marketing videos are pretty much the same. Maybe they define sales videos as spokesperson videos. These are videos where you see an actual person speaking to the camera and connecting with the viewer. Maybe they would define it as some sort of nicely produced slideshow. Others prefer animation. Interestingly enough, there are different types of videos that you can use for sales. They have their own set of strengths and weaknesses. Understand the different types you have at your disposal so you can make informed decisions as to which videos to make. Here are just 3 key marketing video types. There are a lot more out there, but you need to know about these 3. Once you've mastered these 3, then you can experiment with the other types. Whiteboard videos. Whiteboard videos feature a hand that quickly draws a picture. This is an illusion because the picture actually already exists. The software used to create these videos simply hide parts of the picture and then reveal it to give the illusion that the hand is drawing the pictures. I know it sounds cheesy, but it's also very effective. The main reason why a lot of people like whiteboard videos is that they are being revealed information. It's not like you're just telling somebody, okay, these are the facts, and then let's move on to the next set of facts. Instead, when people see the hand moving around, they see that the concept is being fleshed out in front of their very eyes. The downside to typical whiteboard marketing videos is that they're produced by software that often have very limited graphics libraries. It is no surprise that a lot of these you include a voiceover. Unless you have a nice voice and can speak professionally, it's going to be a problem for you. Seriously, because you're going to have to spend money on professional voiceover artists, and a lot of them charge by the word. Keep the types in mind for your campaigns. Get a clear understanding of the different video types available out there and get a clear read on the type of video your target market prefers. 3 key considerations to think about when using whiteboard videos for marketing. You probably have seen whiteboard marketing videos before. They all start out with a hand or a blank screen, and then a hand shows up and draws images while a voiceover plays or some text appears explaining what's going on. They're very effective because they tend to do an efficient job at explaining concepts. Make no mistake, when you talk to somebody and you have a concept in mind, sometimes things get lost in translation. You're not quite able to get your message across clearly and effectively. When you pair that with images, it's much easier for things to click in the minds of people you're trying to convince. Remember, at the end of the day, you want them to reach into their pockets, whip out their wallets, take out their credit cards, fill out an online form, and send you money. That's the bottom line. That's the name of the game. There's no shame in that game. Whiteboard animation can be an effective tool in making that happen. Another way you can turbocharge whiteboard animation is using cartoons. You can use caricatures. Believe it or not, they create the same face-to-face type of video connection as a video spokesperson. The great thing about using cartoons is the fact that they are much cheaper than video spokespersons. The problem with whiteboard animations is their cost if you choose to turbocharge them. If you were to just stick with images and canned music, you'll be fine. You probably would be cranking out tons of these videos for a few bucks a pop, if that. That's how cheap they are to make. The problem is, the moment you start including a voiceover, your costs start to explode. Now, your costs will remain low if you're doing your own voiceover. But if you're insecure about your voice, or you feel that you're just not a good speaker, or you have a low quality voice, you're going to have to spend on a professional. These people are not cheap. They charge per 100 words, and it can get very expensive if you have tons of whiteboard videos. Whiteboard videos that are just made with images and diagrams are cheap to create, just like slideshows. But the moment you include voice, all bets are off. Keep that in. 3 key Fiverr services that will turbocharge your video marketing business. Video marketing does not have to be expensive. I know you probably have heard otherwise. I'm sure there are lots of professional services companies out there that would love to convince you that you have to pay top dollar. But at the end of the day, you don't have to spend an arm and a leg on your videos. You can create slideshow after slideshow, whiteboard video after video, and still have a lot of money left. However, if you really want to increase the impact of your videos, you're going to have to spend a little bit of money. Now, how much money you end up spending totally depends on how many extras you want to pack into your videos. Don't get me wrong, a well-made slideshow video can be effective, but if you really want to maximize its impact with as little effort on your part as possible, you would have to spend on extras. Here are 3 key Fiverr services that will greatly enhance the quality and impact of your video marketing materials. Intro and outro. An intro or outro is an animated or musical piece that plays either in the beginning or at the end of your video. This is a nice little branding element. You may have to pay a little bit of money up front, but the great thing about these clips is that they are a sunk cost. This means that they get cheaper and cheaper the more you use them. You might get a really nice intro, kind of like the Pixar animation, but after a while, people start associating your brand with your intro. This is a good investment to make. Sound engineering and editing. I understand that if you're just starting out, you probably are working on a shoestring budget. You just don't have enough money to come up with the very best videos. I understand that. But here's the thing. If you want to develop a solid brand in your niche, you need to reinvest some of your earnings into quality control. The best way to do this is to invest in sound engineering or video editing. A little bit of money invested in these types of services can go a long way in lifting the overall quality of your videos. Why would you want to do that? Well, you want to come up with a polished brand that would attract people in your niche. Again, this is an investment. You don't have to do it right out of the gate, but you're going to have to revisit this sooner rather than later. Voiceover. Make no mistake, unless you're doing your own voiceovers, this additional element can get quite expensive. This is why you have to invest in voiceovers very strategically. For example, if you crank out slideshows normally, maybe you make it a point to produce a slideshow with a voiceover for every 10 videos you make. Whatever the case may be, a little bit of voiceover work can go a long way in helping you develop a solid brand.
Use the 3 key Fiverr services above to turbocharge the impact of your marketing videos. Do you have to have the best looking videos to make money in your niche? I remember the first time I watched a sales video, and I hate to admit it, it looked like a pile of garbage that caught fire. And that's putting it mildly. The audio was scratchy, the video was blurry at some parts, but guess what happened at the end? That's right. I reached into my back pocket, took out my wallet, fished out my credit card, and filled out an online form. I just sent a couple of $100s to whoever made that video. That's how effective that video was. Now, it had nothing to do with the grainy video images. It had nothing to do with the crappy sound system. It definitely had nothing to do with the weird voiceover that seemed like the person talking had pneumonia or some sort of hormone problem. You know what got me? The total video. It packed enough value that it spoke truth to me. Seriously, it delivered value at the right time and at the right moment to produce the right moves that hit me in the right way. Don't get me wrong, I could have bought from a ton of other people, but the video was able to speak to me with the right message at the right time to produce the right effect. I'm sharing this embarrassing experience with you to clue you in on the fact that your video doesn't have to be slick. I know it sounds shocking, but it's true. It doesn't have to look like an Academy Award-winning director produced it. It just has to have the right elements. Unfortunately, in this game, you will only know how to project the right elements at the right time after enough practice. This is why I suggest that you produce video after video after video until you get it right. Don't expect to get it right overnight. That's just not going to happen. But the more you practice, the better you get at it.